This video will cover some commands that will prepare yourself for matchmaking or just competitive gaming. If you have a friend that wants to play or you need some good tips yourself, here's a list of 10 commands plus some bonus commands that will help. On number 10 is your FPS. The command FPS max will limit your frame rate. To get the lowest input lag and frame latency possible, we need to remove the limit by setting it to 0. Using unlimited amount of FPS will help reduce the time it takes for movements to be registered. So with more FPS, the more control you will have and the bigger advantage you will have. On number 9 is your max allowed ping when searching for a match in matchmaking. You can change this setting in-game or use dedicated search max ping. I recommend to set this on a low value so you get a server close to you. I currently use 50. On number 8 is brightness. If you want to see dark areas better and get better footage when recording, it's important to use good brightness. Use matte monitor gamma to control this. I recommend to set this to 1.6 as it will give you the brightest setting possible. On number 7 is CL HUD player count show count. This changes so that you only see the avatars or numbers. Using the avatar is really good because you can easily see which teammate or enemy is left alive and their health. If you have good information about your enemy and which enemy it is, you can more easily adapt to the situation. If you, however, use numbers, it's easier to read without opening the scoreboard, but it gives you less detailed information of who is alive. This is a personal preference, but it's good to know that both exist. I currently use the mode where you can see the avatars. On number 6 is scaling your radar for better information. Use CL radar scale to change the size of the radar map. I recommend to use 0.3 or 0.4 to get really good overview of the map. This is very important if you want to see exactly where the enemy is or if you just want better info. You can combine this command with a bonus command called CL radar always centered and set it to 0. This will make sure that it shows you the center of the map instead of your center view, which will help you see everything a lot better. On number 5 is your crosshair style. CL crosshair style will change this setting. I prefer using CL crosshair style 5 because the crosshair gap increases while shooting, which allows me to control my recoil based on how big my crosshair becomes. And the plus side of using 5 is that it doesn't get bigger while moving. I think this is the best one to use, but most people prefer crosshair style 4, which is a completely static crosshair and can be less distracting. I recommend to try 4 or 5 to see which one you like the most. On number 4 is changing the voice volume in-game using voice scale. This is very important to calibrate since you need to be able to hear and focus on the sounds of the game. I recommend using between 0.3 and 0.5 as this will not bother you that much while playing and you will still be able to hear your teammates. On number 3 we have interpolation. Interpolation prevents moving objects and animations from looking choppy and jittery. It does it by going back in time to capture positions and animations which have already been rendered. The best setting is to always have the lowest amount of client-side interpolation. This will give you the most accurate representation of the game world. There is one command called CL interp. This command should always be set to 0, and it will automatically adjust the value. To control the game's interpolation, you need to use the CL interp ratio command. I recommend setting this to 1 to get the most consistent results, but if you get too much packet losses, change it to either 2 or 3. So, to summarize, if you have good internet, use CL interp ratio 1 and make sure that CL interp is automatic by setting it to 0. On number 2, we will follow up on interpolation and go to network settings. Let's start with the command rate. Rate limits the max download speed from the server. I recommend to set this to 128,000 since most users are capable of handling 128 kilobits per second. It's really important to set the rate to the highest possible value since you want your client's perception to be as close to the server's perception as possible. I'm going to add 2 bonus commands and they are called CL update rate and CL command rate. Set both to 128 as we want as many updates per second as the server will possibly give us. One thing to note is that matchmaking servers have a default tick rate of 64, which means you will not be able to play with an update rate of 128, but I recommend keeping it like it is, so you can play with these settings on higher tick rate servers. And on number 1, we have CL use opens by menu. This will prevent your use key, which by default is E, to open the buy menu. This can be really annoying when you try to pick up a weapon and the buy menu comes up by mistake, or when you simply press E by accident. So now you know. J'espère vous voir bientôt, and may bananas be with you.
Beautiful headshots and one slightly less beautiful kill. Happy earned himself a